There's an easy road that seems right every single day, but it leads me further from God's light every single day.
Hi, my name is Chaplain Jill Bryan, and I'm really glad that I can introduce you to one of my favorite books to help our children understand that our Second Amendment rights are very important here in the United States. This book is by Lieutenant Colonel David Grossman. If you don't know who he is, during his 24 years as a soldier, Lieutenant Colonel David Grossman served as a paratrooper, a sergeant, an Army Ranger, and a West Point psychology professor. He retired from the U.S. Army in 1998. Since then, he has been traveling almost 300 days a year to train elite military and law enforcement agencies about the reality of combat. He's the author of the classic book, On Combat, which is where the sheepdog model was first introduced. He is the co-owner of Sheepdog Knife and Gun, and he has a black belt in Hojitsu, the martial art of the gun. In 2014, he was inducted into the USA Martial Arts Hall of Fame. This helps teach our children that our rights, a Bill of Rights, Constitution in America, that we need to know why it's best to learn about our firearms. Why mommy carries a gun. There are sheep in the world. They are gentle creatures who could never harm anyone on purpose. There are wolves. They do not care about others, and they can and will harm the sheep. Then there are the sheepdogs. These brave creatures will protect others from the wolf. This is the home of the shepherd family. Dad is away on a business trip, and Mom and Max are home alone. While finishing the dishes, Mrs. Shepherd heard a knock at the front door. She glanced at the clock and wondered, who could it be at 8 o'clock at night? She wasn't expecting anyone at this hour, so it made her feel uneasy. Before going to the door, she reached for her handgun that she kept in her purse. When she closed the door, she noticed Max was out of bed and peeking around the corner. "Mama, why do you have your gun out?" Max asked. "I wasn't sure who it was, and I wasn't expecting anyone this time of night. With Daddy out of town, it's my job to keep us safe. My handgun is simply a tool to help me." "Was that a bad person at the door?" asked Max. Mrs. Shepherd kissed him on the forehead. "No, dear, not a wolf, just a salesman. But I know there are wolves out there, and I couldn't live with myself if a wolf came to hurt you. That's why Mommy carries a gun. Most moms would lay down their lives for their babies, but a sheepdog mom has the tools and the training to defend her pups." She tucked him in and gave him another kiss goodnight. "Everything is fine. Now go back to sleep." A few days later, Max and his dad decided to get ice cream after school. As they were about to enter the shop, Mr. Shepherd noticed a sticker on the door. "We can't go in there, Max. The sheep think a sticker like this will stop bad guys, but it won't," his dad explained, "because bad guys don't follow the rules." "And if a wolf came in to rob this store," Max said, "you wouldn't be able to protect me or the other sheep in there." "Dad, I don't really want ice cream that bad. Let's go to the outdoor shaved ice stand by the park instead." "That's a great idea." "Hey, Max, the fact that Mommy and I carry guns is our family's private business. Remember, we don't talk about it with anyone else, okay?" Max hugged his dad, feeling safe by his side. One day, while playing with his friend Butch at his house, the boys found a gun. "I'm kind of surprised Dad left this sitting here. Maybe I should take it to him," Butch said. "No, Butch," Max exclaimed. "Remember the rules. Don't ever touch a gun without an adult. Leave the area and always tell an adult if we see a gun lying around." Butch smacked his palm on his forehead. "Oh, yeah, I was thinking about helping my dad be responsible. I forgot about my responsibilities." Max and Butch let Mr. Barker know his gun was still on the table. "Oh, gosh, I must have gotten distracted when the phone rang." That's very irresponsible of me. I have never done that before, and I'll make sure it never happens again. Boys, thank you so much for doing the right thing." Later, the boys found a couple of sticks in the yard, and pretending they were guns, decided to play cops and robbers. Their neighbor, Flossie, was riding by on her bike when she saw them playing. "What are you two doing?" she asked in horror. "Playing cops and robbers," Max exclaimed before falling to the ground, clutching his side. Butch smiled broadly while pretending to holster his stick. "That's right. There's a new sheriff in town." Both boys started laughing. Flossie, obviously disgusted by what they were playing, asked, "Why would you play such a terrible game with those things?" "What do you mean? They're just sticks." "See?" Max snapped his stick in half. "We're just pretending." Flossie had her hand on her hip. "Playing pretend guns will make you more violent. That's what my parents told me." "No, it won't," Butch replied. "Does wearing that tiara make you a real princess?" "Well, no, I'm just pretending. I know I'm going to be a sheepdog when I grow up. I want to protect people. I might even grow up to be a hero like Sergeant York or Wyatt Earp." "Yeah," Butch added, "and Davy Crockett and Audie Murphy." They were pretty awesome. Flossie smiled. "Oh, and don't forget about Annie Oakley. She did some amazing shooting with her guns. She picked up a stick and a pine cone. Here, Butch, hold this out in your hand. I'm going to do a trick shot." In America, each and every citizen has a very important rights or freedoms. The Second Amendment is one of those rights. This says all citizens can keep and bear arms. We believe that an armed person is a citizen. An unarmed person is a subject. That means Americans are allowed to buy guns and use guns, and you can carry a gun with you in most places. Responsible gun owners use their tools for personal protection, sport, shooting, and hunting. But no matter what laws you make, bad guys can still get their filthy paws on a gun because they will break the law. Strict gun laws just create places where good people can't protect themselves. My parents are responsible adults who've taken the time to train with their guns, and they've learned how to handle and store them safely. They have also learned about gun laws in our state. And in our nation, kids are taught what to do when they find a gun. And they know they should never touch any type of firearm without an adult. You should immediately find a grown-up if you find a gun, just like we did. Our country is amazing and unique. The Greeks had their Spartans, and in England they still tell stories of King Arthur and the knights and the paladins. In Japan, they talk about their great samurai or karate masters to this day. But in America, we honor the Minutemen, Davy Crockett, Wyatt Earp, and so many more. Our nation was born with muskets and cannons in a revolution that we celebrate every year on the 4th of July. We carved our rights to have guns into the DNA of our nation with the Second Amendment. Our nation's heroes are gunfighters. We love our families and our country so much that we feel it is our duty to always be ready. For most Americans, the ultimate love for your country is not to fight in a war, not to sacrifice your life, but to live a life of sacrifice. We know with proper training, we have the skills and tools to save innocent lives at the moment of truth. And as parents, it is our responsibility to raise our children to become the next generation of sheepdogs. Worldwide, politicians and wealthy people have armed security guards who keep them and their families safe. But in most nations, individual citizens are left helpless and unable to defend themselves. In America, we can be our own armed security. There is no elite class of people because we are the ones who run this country. In our nation, we have the same right to armed security as the president, and we can provide that protection for ourselves and our loved ones. That is what being a sheepdog in America is all about. Well, I hope you liked Why Mommy Carries a Gun. And I hope that you do your part to study and to know, to make sure safety rules, but to understand that in America, we have our rights and we need to know what they are. Have an awesome day.
Life is a battle all day through, a warring of the old ways against the new.